5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello again, humans. Retro Rocket Man here. Today I'm going to be painting a retro-styled ray gun or laser gun. Ray gun being an older terminology commonly used back in the 30s, 40s and 50s in science fiction movies and novels, comic books. Because of its retro type styling, I'm going to be calling it a ray gun. This is a $5 toy that I found in Kmart, and I felt it has a lot of potential for a bit of customising. It has all the lights and sounds that you'd naturally associate with these sorts of toys. Still quite impressive, very flash. So away we go. To start with, I'm going to mask off the clear plastic areas with the lights, with the light effect, and preparing it for spray undercoat, as well as the spray finish with the top coats. Another masking technique that I like to use for sort of rounded surfaces, because it's very hard to trim the tape to these sorts of areas, is to use Plasticine. It can be a little bit awkward, especially in the removal stage, but it works for me. Just simply press it in and mould it to the contours of the area that you want to cover. I've covered up all the areas that I do not wish to have any overspray from the spray procedure, and I think it'll work fine. Naturally outside, I've already sprayed it with an undercoat of white. Let that dry, and now I'm going to just spray the hand grip and trigger area with black. I don't care if I get it on other parts of the gun. I'll be covering this up and spraying the rest of the gun with a chrome silver. Here it is masked off, the areas that I want to leave black, and now I'm going to spray it with the chrome to give the rest of the gun a metallic look. Once it's dry, I've brought it back inside to remove the masked off areas and reveal the clear plastic portions of the gun, which will still retain the light and sound features. So now we have a general idea of what the main colour schemes will be, with the black hand grip and trigger and the silver main body of the gun. It's going to be obviously weathered, because that's what I like to do. Now it's time to scrape away the plasticine. Naturally, what plasticine does is it gets firm when it's not handled, so that from the heat of your hand it softens and becomes more pliable. But sitting on the gun like this, it's become quite firm, but it wasn't too hard to scrape away. I've used different implements to get in there and remove it. I've sped it up here obviously, but you get the gist. As you can see, it's quite effective with masking off those areas. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease to get it off, that's all, but it's certainly not permanent. And voila, here we have the new look gun. Now all it needs is the weathering, which is my favourite part. So I'm going to give the gun an all-over wash with some black shoe polish in the chrome areas, just to make it look less shiny and brand new, give it a bit more of a realistic look. Because even in the clean chrome still looks sort of like a plastic finish to me. This process will disguise that, and very effectively. Whilst it's still wet, I'm removing the shoe polish. First of all, I am just dabbing it away to see what sort of effect that leaves behind. I found that it's probably a bit too grubby for my liking, so I'm going to clean it up with a scourer, a soft scourer, non-scratching scourer, just moistened with water. Time for some brown shoe polish, just to accent some certain features of the gun, give it some contrast, sort of a brassy look to the silver finishes, and create a lot more interest, and makes it look more fancy. The look of this gun almost has a steampunk vibe to it, but it is modelled, in my opinion, after a lot of the early sci-fi fiction movies and comic books. But I wanted to give it a look that it's been through the wars, seen some battles, got some scars and dirt, scrapes and scratches. This is the silver dry brushing on the black areas, pretty much all over really, although it's more dramatic on the black areas because of the contrast. But I also applied this all over the gun, but to a much more reduced effect on the silver areas. It's not quite as obvious. I know it's the sort of thing I could imagine a character like Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon using back in those early days of science fiction. And just to give it a bit more dimensionality, I'm just rubbing in some metallic eyeshadow just to give it a slightly different sort of look in certain areas, creating a bit more contrast if you like. Just rub it on with your finger, stains those areas ever so slightly. It doesn't overdo it, and it's quite dramatic. So there you go, fellow humans. Here's another one for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Retro Rocket Man signing out.